Salutations, Utopians. Hope all is well in your world. As promised, here's my second round evaluation. A lot of interesting storylines, and I want to get right to it. The first pick that I thought was very interesting was the third pick in the draft. Uh, Nick Emmanwori of South Carolina. As you all know, this is the same franchise that drafted Witherspoon, who became an All-Pro. And now you're looking at Emmanwori. He's a big safety, 6'3", heavy hitter out there. They're finding their next Cam Chancellor. Not to put high expectations, but you know franchises tend to repeat history. And this guy right here reminds me a lot of that guy, Cam Chancellor, who was part of that Legion of Boom. This is a great foundational piece for the Seattle Seahawks, who continue to display immaculate acumen out there. Love what they've done all off season, from the Geno trade to the to the acquisition of Sam Darnold, coming off a 14-2 season. Love what they did right there. The next pick was Cleveland, who had the first pick in the second round and drafted a linebacker from UCLA, Savage, high motor guy. But the pick I found really interesting was the fourth pick they used on Quinshon Judkins. Judkins is 6 foot, 220 pounds. Had the second fastest 10-yard spit, the highest broad jump with 11. 4.48 running at 220 pounds, 6 feet tall. The guy has all the measurables to be great. As you all know, Nick Chubb is gone. They chose to attack that need early, and I think I think he looks the part. To be determined, obviously. The game is not played in the combine, but everything checks all the boxes. Part of the world champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes. So, that was a great pickup. And matter of fact, we can jump on number 6 to his counterpart, who he split carries with, Trayvon Henderson, who averaged 7 yards a carry. Dynamic, explosive guys. They may have really went 1 and 2 in terms of, two immediate contributors, day one, lock 'em in type players. Which is normally what you expect from the running back position. But Ohio State might have just produced two very serviceable, long tenured running backs in the NFL in the second round. Now, to get to one of my more interesting picks, not necessarily one that I'm fond of, Tyler Show. Tyler Show is a name who you didn't hear a lot about. He went to Louisville. He went through two serious injuries, fluke injuries, injuring a leg, someone falling on it, things like that kind of thing. He is a phenomenal passer. I was listening to Louis Riddick break it down. This guy on Dan Patrick's show was talking about how he hasn't missed it. He can make every single pass that Dart and all the other big name quarterbacks in the league can make. And this is a guy who, don't be surprised if he emerges. Yes, I know Spencer Rattler looked very underwhelming in the limited action that he got last year, but who didn't with that offensive line and just the overall morale of that team that's now under a new head coaching regime. Good luck. I can't think of the head coach name off the top of my head. He was the quarterback at Boise State, 52-win season, barely lost that if at all. But formerly the Eagles offensive coordinator. But Tyler Show is a name. I don't necessarily think the Saints should be drafting a quarterback that high. That's a luxury pick for teams who I believe quarterbacks should be drafted last once you have everything you need, or you have a real thin quarterback room. There's just been too many quarterbacks in need of a job right now for the Saints, who are so tight right now on salary cap, to be addressing a quarterback that might not even see the light of day this year, especially with Derek Carr still on the roster and last year's high draft pick, Spencer Rattler. Let's get to number 10, Mason Taylor. I was very shocked during the broadcast. I was listening to the Nick Saban, arguably the greatest college coach of all time, and he said on the record that this was his biggest regret from his recruiting days. And Mason is related to Jason Taylor and Zach Taylor, two former Miami Dolphins who were ironically enough major rivals. That's how you know the respect is mutual. Aaron Glenn, the head coach, played against them. The Jets in Miami used to give some Monday Night Football some of the greatest rival games in the history of all sports, not just in the NFL, but of all sports. They had amazing Monday night throwdowns, from Testaverde to Chant Pennington at quarterback for the Jets. Speaking of quarterback and Jets lineage, Mason is the first LSU tight end to have 100 receptions and 1,000 yards catching. This is exactly the type of stuff you want to see for Justin Fields, furnishing him with a proper roster. First round, they went trenches, protect him. Second round, in this modern day league, they say, as you all know, tight end is a quarterback's best friend, not running backs anymore. So that is a big time pickup football is in his bloodline. You know what it is. Tumula is from Ohio State, edge rusher. You pair him with last year's first round pick, Latu. This is a ferocious front line. I know so much has been emphasized on the Indianapolis Colts offense and what they're going to do at quarterback and their receiving core, but this was an amazing under the radar move that I think, just from a standpoint of having the proper foundation in community, this could end up paying dividends from the world champion Ohio State, who had a phenomenal showing in this draft. The next interesting pick for me, I know, well, I can go Terrence Ferguson also from the Rams. He's a guy who's, he's a big body, 6'5", 247 from Oregon, deceptively athletic despite how big he is. He tied for the quickest 10-yard split, and his speed showed on tape. He's definitely a very versatile guy. So the ultimate cosign is that Sean McVay likes him. We know that it's been a little bit of a struggle. They had Higbee, I think, at tight end for a while, but there hasn't been any distinct franchise tight end go-to guy. We hear so much about Nakua, and we hear so much about Cooper Kupp. I wanted to say Flag, but we don't hear enough about what they get from tight end. With Kupp gone, that security blanket needed to be replaced, and that's exactly what this pick could be, an immediate plug and play. Now, one of the most interesting picks was Will Johnson of this draft. As you all know, he went to Michigan. I watched the Fresno game. Moss went out there and grabbed a generational catch. I don't know why they don't even show that highlight, but all in all, he's a big name guy who was expected to go in the first round. Arizona, of all franchises, just have a knack for making the most out of defensive players late in rounds. This is no different. I really respect this selection. From a standpoint, you roll the dice. He was originally ranked as the 7th best prospect in this draft. So this is a great value pick. No fan should be mad if this doesn't pan out, and if it does, was an extreme value quality pickup. Kudos to them. Who's the next one I had on my list? We got okay, so last but not least, I want to address my other favorite pickup, my last favorite pickup, and I'll call that one Tate Ratledge. He's a 6'6" guard, 6'7" guard, 308 pounds from Georgia, who also just right there neck and neck with Ohio State in terms of prospects everywhere. Started 37 games, and he's just a problem. He's a unit. And so this was a big time pickup, and losing Zettler in free agency to the Titans is going to definitely fill that void. This is a guy who has first round talent. I know we don't hear much about the trenches, but Tate Ratledge, that's an A+ pickup by Brad Holmes. I hope this video was informative, Utopian. Stay tuned as I bring you my third round impressions later. Global out.